Today on Real Short Talks with Ryan, we're going to be answering the question, who wrote the Bible? Let's get started. There's two parts to this answer, so hang with me, all right? Part one is that the Bible was written by people. Approximately 40 men from different walks of life, all different backgrounds, wrote the individual books that make up the singular book of the Bible that we have today. They wrote these different books over the course of a couple thousand years. These books were written in 3 different languages, and yet they all combined to tell a singular story about Christ. How is this possible, right? This doesn't make sense. I know there's some authors out there that write a series of books over 20 years, and they contradict themselves from their earlier books to their later books. So how is this possible that all of these different people wrote a book with a singular story over the course of a couple thousand years? Well, that's where part 2 comes into play. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16 tells us that all scripture is breathed out by God. So part 2 of the answer to who wrote the Bible is God. So how does this work exactly? How do we have both men writing the Bible and we have God writing the Bible as well? Well, there's a bunch of different theories out there about how this process worked. And if you're interested in those, you can look them up. You can message me. We can talk about those. But the truth is, none of us really know how this process worked. Nobody around today was there when the Bible was breathed out by God. But what do we see? We see that the books are different. We have all different genres of books in the Bible. We have historical narratives. We have poetry, law. We have letters that were written in all different styles. You can see stylistic differences about how Paul wrote versus how Peter wrote, and how Moses wrote versus how somebody like David wrote the Psalms. So we see that God took the personalities, the unique backgrounds of the authors, and somehow worked through those, but it was given by God. God is the ultimate source. So what does that mean for us? How does this practically impact our lives? Well, it means that we can trust the Bible. It means the Bible is useful to us. We're going to be talking about that over the next couple of weeks of how we can use the Bible and what the Bible is useful to us for. But we have to see that it is the source. It is the beginning. There's a reason that when I do these real short talks, I've got the Bible with me, because the Bible is the source. It is trustworthy. It is true. It is what we need. As God is trustworthy, His Word is trustworthy. And some people might ask, well, man, if it's been so long, how do we know that we've got the right things? Well, because we trust God. We trust that God has preserved for us through His working in history, His words to us, that we have what we need to live for Him. So that's who wrote the Bible. I hope you learned something. We'll see you back next week.